Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this Let's Learn. For today, we'll be doing getting started with Microsoft Teams. Now, before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Angel. I'll be your trainer for today. And for today's agenda, we'll be learning the how to navigate the basics of Microsoft Teams. We'll learn about chat, understanding teams and channels, and how to create and join a meeting. Finally, we'll learn how to locate your files. Microsoft Teams is a flexible digital workplace that brings together people, their data, apps, and features all in one place so everyone can achieve more together. Call and share videos from one place. Create, share, and exchange ideas with shared documents and content. Stay focused and organized with all of your apps and features you need at your fingertips. Microsoft Teams is an all-in-one app for working together. Think about what you do on a day-to-day basis. You talk to your coworkers, go to meetings, place calls, and work on documents. Maybe you write reports, work on budgets, analyze data, or design publications and review announcements and updates that are part of the whole team. Microsoft Teams is fully integrated with Microsoft 365 for a more seamless work solution, bringing all of your Office apps together in one flow. You can collaborate on files, you can chat, call, set meetings, screen share, and connect with people in and even outside of the organization. After today's session, you'll be able to communicate with your coworkers, save time while working and collaborating in teams, and see how teamwork and projects can be managed in one central place. I will be utilizing the desktop version of Teams. There are similarities between the mobile and web version. However, the desktop version is the most robust version, giving you the full features that Microsoft Teams has to offer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize this PowerPoint presentation. And as I mentioned, I'll be utilizing the desktop version of Microsoft Teams. Now, like most Microsoft 365 applications, this is divided into three main segments. We have our left-hand rail, containing all the tools that we'll be utilizing today, our main content area on the center of your screen, and your horizontal bar menu on the top of your screen. Now, if we pay attention to the upper right-hand corner, you'll notice that I'm currently logged in as Megan Bowen. Megan Bowen is a fictitious character who works for a fictitious company called Contoso. So for today's demonstration, everything here was going to be strictly demonstration. No personal information will be divulged here. Now, as I navigate to my profile picture, if you don't see your profile picture, you most likely will see your initials. In this case, if I did not see a profile picture here, I would have seen MB. To change the profile picture, all I have to do is just simply click on the camera icon as I hover over this circle, and I can go ahead and upload a new image from here or remove the existing image. Once I'm done, I can just simply hit save. That easy. Now, if we navigate back to our profile picture, from here you'll see our availability. I'm currently marked as available, but if I wanted to mark myself as busy, do not disturb, be right back, I can go ahead and do this manually. Now, keep in mind that sometimes your status will change automatically. If you're away for too long from your desktop or your laptop, you will appear as away. And if you're in a meeting or even scheduled to be in a meeting, you will automatically pop up as busy. Now, keep in mind that if you do select Do Not Disturb, that will cut off all notifications coming into your device unless you set up priority access or you receive an urgent message, which we'll get into in a bit. Now, you can also set up a duration as well. If you're like me, very forgetful, you can always set up a duration to see how long that status will be for. In addition to that, you can also set up a status message. So if you're away for too long, or you're going to be away for lunch or whatever the case is, you can always leave a message here. For example, I will be on lunch from 2 to 3. Let's go ahead and just fix that real quick. For questions, contact, and this is my favorite part here. You can @mention any of your coworkers. So, for example, I can put @Nestor over here, and as I'm writing his name down, his name will pop up from the Active Directory here. I can click on Nestor here. He'll receive a notification stating that I put him on my status message. And if anybody comes to my profile, they'll receive this message. And all they have to do is hover over or click on Nestor's name, and they'll get all the contact information from there. So it can get all those questions answered through my coworker here. And the same way we can set up automatic duration, we can do the same thing here. And of course, we can also set this for schedule out of office. Keep in mind that when it comes to your status or your status message, this is all intertwined with your Microsoft Outlook. All right, let's go ahead and head back. And from here, of course, you have other options here, which we're not going to get into very much. I'm going to save that for another video. Now, right next to your profile picture, you'll find the three dots here, your ellipses, containing your settings. From here, you can zoom in. You can also go for keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts we'll be going into a little bit just so you can see the search bar. But from here, what I want to put your attention on is your settings. Within your settings, you'll be greeted with your General tab, where you can change your theme from our default theme to dark. I personally prefer the dark theme, especially since I'm on Teams all day. This is a lot more comfortable for the eyes over time. We also have high contrast view if you're visually impaired or low vision, or if you simply like the look. But for today's demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and keep it on default. From your General tab, if you scroll to the bottom, you can also set delegations here if you have a phone system. But we won't be getting into that. That will be for another video. We can go into your accounts if you need to change your information here. But what I really want to put your attention here is under privacy. Under privacy is where we can manage our priority access. So if you decide to go on Do Not Disturb, you'll be blocking off all notifications coming into your Microsoft Teams unless you have priority access. For example, I have Alan and Nestor here. If I needed to remove anyone, I can simply click on the X. If I needed to add someone, I can just simply start writing down their name, and they should pop up over here. So now again, I have Alan and Nestor. That easy. That way you can receive those important messages. And finally, one last thing I wanted to showcase over here is your notifications. Under notifications is where you can go ahead and change everything here. If you're receiving too many emails, for example, this by default missed activity is set to every hour. Since I'm on Teams all day, I'd rather just leave it on daily. And from here, you can also change your notification settings within Microsoft Teams. If you're receiving too many notifications during meetings, for example, you can go ahead and do that all through here. Alrighty, let's close down our settings. And if we continue down our horizontal bar menu, we'll find our search, where we can search for people, we can search for comments, messages, and more. If I need to search for a file containing the word plan, I can simply write down the word plan, and I'm already getting a few hits over here. But if I want to see the entirety of the search, I can simply hit enter, and it'll guide me to this search screen where I can go to my messages. I can also filter if I'm looking for a particular message containing the word plan. I can go for people if, of course, a person had that in their name, or I can go to files. And from here, I can search for all the files, and I can even search by file type over here. So if I'm looking for a particular file, I can do that and find exactly what I'm looking for. The last thing within our horizontal bar menu here is you have your arrows. All the way to the left-hand side, you have your back arrow and your forward arrow if you're on specifically the desktop version. This functions exactly like it would on a desktop browser. So if you hover over the back arrow, you'll see the previous pages that you were on. Alrighty, that concludes our horizontal bar. Let's go down to our left-hand rail, starting with our activities. With our activities, here is where we will find our notifications. So all the notifications will be available from us right from this activity screen. Now, from here, we can find all the the entire activity of our feed. So we can go ahead and filter this by using these three lines here. If you're looking for a particular notification, you can go into the ellipses to further filter what you're looking for, if it's at mentioned, replies, and so on. You can even go to the cogwheel here. The cogwheel will just simply function as a shortcut to that notification settings that we were on earlier. And from our activity, we go down to our chats. Our chat, of course, is where we'll spend a lot of time sending our one-on-one or our group chats. Over here, you'll find your most recent chat on the top here, where it says recent. You'll actually have two sections. We'll have our pinned section and our recent. If you do not have a pinned section, that's because you haven't had pinned anything yet. So, for example, if I want to pin Deborah over here, I can just simply hover over Deborah and go to the ellipses, where I can simply click on pin, and it'll guide her to my pin section. And I can even organize this more by simply clicking on Deborah and dragging her to the top, and I can organize my pin section. You can have up to 15 pinned chats, whether it be a group chat, whether it be a singular chat, or even a meeting chat. Meeting chats will be represented by a calendar, which we'll get into once we start creating meetings. Now, if I want to compose a message, I can just simply go to the paper pencil icon, and I can compose a message here if I'm looking for somebody in particular. For example, I want to search for Pradeep. I can go ahead and search for Pradeep from here, and I can start a message by searching, going down to the compose message section here, and just simply say, hey, how's it going? And from sending out that message, I've now created a chat, and that will be on the top of my most recent chats. From here, I have more options. From not only sending a standard message, but I can also format my message, whether I want to put it bold, italicize, underscore, whether I want to add clips or even a table. I have all those options here. But what I want to put your attention on really is the exclamation mark right next to your format option. And from here, we can go ahead and also mark this as important. It's not going to say anything different or send them an additional notification, but it will make it view as important. It'll give an exclamation mark right next to the chat on his end, and he'll see that's an important chat. Otherwise, there's also the urgent. Urgent will bypass the do not disturb, but use this sparingly, as this will send a notification every 2 minutes for 20 minutes, or at least till the recipient receives that message. And finally, over here, I'm just going to go ahead and discuss briefly our paperclip, where we can send files. We can send files directly from our OneDrive or send files directly from our computer. I can click on my computer here, and I can go into my documents, for example. And from here, I can send out this particular document. This will be my Contoso team verification. Now, this is a very important document that I'm sending out. So I'm going to click on open so it can attach, and as you can see, it's loading down. But because this is an important message, an important attachment, I also want to make sure that I send it securely. To do that, right below it says anyone with this link can edit. I'm going to click on that. And it's going to give me several options here. This goes from least secure to most secure. So currently it says anyone. That means anyone with this link can get access and modify this document. Now that means that anyone around the world, if they get their hands on that link, they can go ahead and do whatever it is. So if it's sensitive information, you want to make sure that you're selecting other options. There's the second option here, people in my organization. So people in Contoso who have the email handle Contoso can access it. People currently in this chat, that means that only Pradeep and I will be able to read this. And people with existing access, that means people you've already shared it with who just need to get access again with that link. And finally, people you choose. So that'll be specific people, and no one outside of those specific people can view the document. For today's demonstration, I'm just going to simply leave it on my people in my organization. And from here, you can change how people can interact with the document. So for more settings, currently it's on can edit. That means Pradeep can access this file and modify this file as well. If I just needed him to review the file, I can simply put on can review. That means it can view the file and make suggestions, add comments. But if I don't want that either, I want him just simply to view the document, I can just simply click on can view. So Pradeep can't make any changes or even suggest any changes. Unless, of course, he just writes it in the chat. But for today's demonstration, I'm going to leave it on can edit, and I'm apply these changes. And I can go ahead and write down a message. Hey, check this out. And I can go ahead and send this out by clicking on the paper plane icon and send this out. So you can see it was quite simple. And because I'm sending files from here, if I wanted to view files, just the files, for example, let's say that we have a long chat going on over here, and we have weeks, if not months, chatting here, and I want to go for a specific file that we've shared, I can just simply go to the Files tab right next to Chat. And from here, all the files will be neatly organized. I can simply access the file from here. Now, if I needed to make a call right away, I can just simply go to the camera icon here, where I can start a video call, or I can start an audio call from here. I also have the downward arrow here, where I can call their number as well if you have the phone option installed on your Microsoft Teams. Now, let's go back to chat real quick. And since I've mentioned how you can call over here, I also want to mention briefly, if you go back down to your message extensions, you do have the option here where there is a calendar with a plus icon where you can schedule a meeting from here between Pradeep and yourself, for example, or myself in this case. Now, let's say I want to go ahead and make this a group chat. To make this a group chat, all I simply have to do is click on the people icon on our upper right hand corner, where I can click on this and I can add people within this chat. But keep in mind that because this is a one-on-one chat with Pradeep, that means that this particular chat is private. So if I add Alex, for example, I can go ahead and start writing Alex and add Alex to this chat and click on add. It will start an entirely new chat here. So it will start an entire group chat. And of course, it will be in my drafts over here. As soon as I send the message, it will be a chat for everyone here. Hey, guys. And I can send this out, and there you go. Now it's a standard group chat. And it's an entire group chat. So if I go back to my left-hand tab over here, I can click on Pradeep, and I can see that previous conversation. And now I can see this group chat here. If I wanted to identify this particular group chat as well, I can go ahead and click on the pencil right next to the names, where we can go ahead and give this group chat a name. For example, our Team Z. And I can click on Save. And anyone that makes changes to this particular name will reflect on their end as well. So there can only be one name. So if Pradeep changes the name, then it will go ahead and reflect on my end as well. Now, unlike one-on-one chats where they're private, group chats can be viewed by everyone. So that means that if we add more people to this conversation, for example, I click on add people, it will give me this particular option now where it says don't include chat history, include history for the past number of days. You can put that manually. I'll have this option here, include all chat history. And we can go ahead and add people. So for example, I want to add Adele. I can go ahead and add Adele as well to this particular chat. Select include all chat history and click on add. And now she will be added to Team Z, where she again can modify it if she needs to. Alrighty. So from here, there are plenty of other tricks and tips that you can go through with Teams, but we'll go ahead and leave that for another segment. And I want to go ahead and now come down to our Microsoft Teams here. Teams. So from here, you'll see our teams and channels. Now, when it comes to teams and channels, it works very similar to chat. However, if anything, if you're going to put a similarity to it, it would be more like you would make posts on Facebook, or like a Discord. If you were familiar with Discord, this functions almost exactly the same way. Where, for example, I'm part of this particular team, which is Contoso. And with the Contoso team, I have my general channel and my IT channel. One thing you'll notice if I go to other particular teams is you'll see a general channel on all of them. There's always going to be a general channel for any team that you're a part of. You can't delete or rename those channels. And of course, that's where the general conversation of that particular team will be held. Otherwise, you can separate those conversations by category. Think of Microsoft Teams or Teams as a building. And within that building, you have different floors containing our general floor, our design floor, and so on. So you have different floors within this building. So you can keep things a lot more organized and the conversation a lot more cohesive. So if we're talking about sales, we're going to have our sales channel. If we're talking about training, we'll have our training channel, and so on. Now, if you want to go ahead and join a team, you can go all the way to the bottom of the list where you'll have the option here where it says join or create a team. We'll click on this. And from here, I have the option to create a team. In some cases, you may not have it depending on your organization. And we'll have the option to join a team if they provided you a code. And in some cases, you'll see some teams already available here where you can click on join. Typically, these are public teams if they pop up within this view. Or you can just simply go to the search section and you can search for that particular team that you want to be a part of. And finally, if we go right back down again to where it says join or create, we will have the cogwheel here where we'll have a bird's eye view of all the teams that we're a part of. So from here, I can see I'm part of the business development, Contoso, demo project, and so on. I can see the description. I can see my membership, whether I'm a member or an owner or even a guest. I'll see how many people are in each individual team. I can see what type of team it is, whether it's a private team, whether it is an organization-wide team, or whether it is a public team. And we'll have these eyes here as well, so we can go ahead and click on the eye if we want to hide that particular team. And if we hide whatever team, we will have a new section right on our left-hand pane where we'll see hidden teams, where we can continue still interact with them regularly. It'll just be hidden from our view, so we can organize things a lot more comfortably. So, for example, as well, I can continue organizing this the same way as I would organize my pinned chats by simply dragging the demo project and putting it to the top. And in addition, if there's a particular channel that I interact with a lot, for example, this Collab Space New York training, I can go ahead and go into the ellipses here and I can pin this particular channel. And that will create a new tab where I have now my pinned channel section in the same way I would pin a particular chat. Alrighty. Now that we're done here, let's go ahead and go into our calendar. Our calendar here is where we will view all our meetings or our upcoming appointments, or where we can create appointments as well, or meetings from here. Now, you will have your today's view, where you can go ahead and click back and forth between weeks. Now, if you want to change your view, you can go all the way down to the right-hand side of this, and you have the option to view the day, to view the work week, or the week. I personally like viewing it for work week, Monday through Friday. And when it comes to month view, if you wanted to view the month, you would have to click where it says the month, February 2023, where you'll only have this particular view for the month. Now, if you wanted a full calendar and view the full month calendar, that will only be available on your Outlook. Now, when it comes to your Outlook and your calendar here, they're all synchronized. So anything that you see on your Outlook would pop up within here on your Microsoft Teams. Now, to create a meeting, it's pretty simple. We can go ahead and click on Meet Now if you want to start an ad hoc meeting and then invite people later. Or you'll have the option over here where it says New Meeting, where you can schedule new meeting. And you'll have a downward arrow here to schedule what type of meeting, whether it's going to be a standard meeting or, for example, a webinar here. And in some cases, you'll see also live events. I'm going to schedule a standard meeting here. Click on Standard Meeting here, or Scheduled Meeting. And I'll be greeted now with this particular window. Let's go ahead and expand this. From here, I can go ahead and now title this, and it's going to be our demo meeting. And I can go ahead and start inviting people here. For example, I want to invite Adele again. I can go ahead and start writing down her name. I want to invite Lydia. I want to invite Alan. And I can continue inviting other people, and I have optional people I can invite as well. I can go ahead and set the time here. Currently, it's 8:30 p.m. Now, we can go ahead and just change that time altogether. So we can go ahead and make this for tomorrow, actually. So let me go ahead and go to my calendar and go for our Thursday meeting. And over here, I'm going to select an earlier time. Meeting is going to take place at noon. If I needed to change over here 30 minutes to an hour meeting, I can do that from here. Or I can just simply go into this particular time slot and put in the time manually. I'm going to leave it as is for a 30-minute meeting. I'll have some suggestions over here. And it's a cool thing that you have suggestions here, because in some cases you'll see this. Currently Adele is tentative. That means that she has something on her calendar that she hasn't accepted. I won't be able to see what's on her calendar, but I can see that she'll most likely be busy. I can see that Lydia is also busy. She accepted something around that time. And I can see that the only person that'll be free here would be Alan. So it's giving me some suggested times here. But instead of using the suggested times, we do have this option up here where it says scheduling assistant. And within our scheduling assistant, I can see here, even myself as Megan is going to be unavailable because it looks like Megan has something within her calendar. So I can go ahead and just simply drag this particular bar across to a more suitable time. If I put it 30 minutes later, so it's going to be between 12:30 and 1 instead of 12 to 12:30, I can see that everyone will be available. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at that time, and we're going to go back to details. From here, I have the option if I needed to repeat this particular meeting, I can do that from here. I can add a particular channel, but keep in mind that if you invite a particular channel, it will simply be as a post. It won't be a formal invitation. So that means the people in that channel won't receive an email calendar invite. They'll simply see that post on that channel. Now, from here, I do have the option to add a location, as well as add details here. Demo details. Now, if I needed to add an attachment from here, I wouldn't be able to. I will have to wait till after I'm done creating this meeting to send an attachment. So from here, I can just review everything as is. I think it's good. And I can click on send. And now that will pop up within my calendar for tomorrow. And that was our demo meeting I see here, right here in the middle of two other meetings. Now, in order for you to add an attachment, you can simply click on that particular meeting and click on Chat with Participants. By clicking on Chat with Participants, it will go ahead and open up a chat within your chat side. You can see here, now this is a meeting chat where I can go ahead and attach whatever I needed to attach from here. And I can start a meeting early if I needed to from here as well. So I can go ahead and say I'll be joining the meeting early. And I can send this out. And everybody will receive a notification within their chat over here saying that the demo meeting is going to start early. Where I can click on join and join from here. Or I can go always back to my calendar and make sure that I'm joining the correct meeting by clicking on that particular meeting itself. And I can join. So I can go ahead and now set up whatever it is I need to set up from here. Whether I want to turn on my camera, whether I want to go ahead and and turn off my microphone, which I am, just to avoid feedback. And I'm going to join as is now. And from here, I'll have other options. So I can open up that chat we were just chatting in, the one where I just said, I'll be right back. As you can see, all the chat here is persistent. If I needed to invite other people from here, I can click on the People's tab and start inviting them in and click on Request to Join, or wait till they they start joining in. Trickling in was the word I was looking for. I can go ahead and raise my hand here if there were a lot of questions asked, and a lot of questions that want to be asked. You want to make sure that it's organized, so you can encourage everyone to raise their hand. And as they raise their hand, there will be a number right next to their hand indicating in which order the hands were raised. We can go ahead and click on the hand to lower our hand. We'll have our reactions tab, so we can send out reactions to whatever we're saying. I can go ahead and add applications from here, or go into my more settings over here within our ellipses, where we can go ahead and record this this particular meeting. If we click on record and start recording the meeting, then you will be the owner of said meeting. But we'll go ahead and have an entire entire video dedicated on just meeting life cycles. From here, we can turn on and turn off our cameras or our microphones, and we'll have the share button here where we can easily share either a whiteboard. If we're working on a whiteboard, we can share our PowerPoint presentations from here as well. And make sure if you're sharing anything that includes audio to always click on Include Computer Audio on the top. Once we're done with the meeting, we can leave. However, because I am the meeting organizer, I'll also have another option here. If I click on the downward arrow, I'll have this option here where it says End Meeting. So I'll end the meeting for everyone. Now, I'll also have my call tab right next to my right under my calendar here. I mean, things might be organized a little different from here, but when it comes to calls, we'll have a different session for calls, and since that takes up a lot of time, and I think it's pretty straightforward when it comes to making phone calls. Now, you may not have an actual dialer here because you don't have the phone option installed, where we'll get into that in a bit. Well, actually, we'll get to that in another session, is what I'm saying. And finally, to locate all of your files, you can locate all your files by going into the Files tab from here. And going into the Files tab is where you'll find your files either on your OneDrive. You'll find files as well within Microsoft Teams, which is all the files that has been shared through your teams and channels. This will be located here. And this direct access will be through SharePoint. I can go through that on another session as well. But this is where you'll locate all your files. If you're looking for a file and you don't know specifically in what channel it was or specifically in what chat it was, you can always go into your Teams in Microsoft Teams or go into your OneDrive. It was a personal chat. So keep in mind that chats files will be on your OneDrive and Teams files will be within your Microsoft Teams, which is your SharePoint Online. Now, towards the bottom here, we'll have our apps if you want to include applications for that. But we'll do entire sessions for this. I think it's pretty straightforward. If anything, we just briefly went over our teams and channels, but we'll have a whole section dedicated for teams and channels as well, since sometimes there is a lot more involved, since, again, this is where you get job done. This is where you collaborate with your team. Alrighty. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my PowerPoint presentation here, and I'm going to go ahead and simply recap what we just learned today. So today we learned how to navigate Microsoft Teams. We learned how to send a chat message. We learned to understand teams and channels. And as well, we learned how to create and join a meeting. And finally, where to locate our files. Now, with that said, I want to thank everyone very much for joining me today on this Let's Learn, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.